Do not be afraid to experiment, even if it doesn't match. If you want like a certain furniture, you will find a place to put it. It's like coming up with an outfit. You don't have to follow any rules or any trends. It's the way that you put things together that make it beautiful, which tells the story and says so much about your personality. So collect, and eventually select. Hi, I'm Heart Evangelista-Escudero, and today I will be sharing with you the evolution of my homes. So for the first home, we're going to talk about my childhood home. This was in San Francisco, Foster City. So we lived in this beautiful place beside Ryan Park. I grew up surrounded by Laura Ashley wallpapers. My dad was into a lot of home decors and just really beautifully curating the house. Even our garage was all decked out in wallpaper. We also had, this beautiful backdrop, like a chinoiserie with beautiful details. Growing up with a lot of like jars, beautiful jars, Ming Dynasty, he was into a lot of that. He was also into a lot of like excavation of antiques. So it was very beautiful growing up into that kind of environment and atmosphere because in a sense, I guess it trained also, my imagination and my mind being exposed to that at such an early age. That home also evolved a lot during the years, but he was definitely a maximalist like me. I was very in love with our garage. It wasn't the usual because when you see a garage, especially in the States, it's really more, all cement, very industrial. But till this day, actually, I was able to visit, a few years ago, and I passed by the house and the garage was open. It still had the beautiful wallpaper. It was a lot of greens, florals, but very striking. I love the whole, the vibe, and I love how my dad was very particular with his attention to detail. So I love that. That was my favorite. Each piece that we had a story. I remember, go to Redwood City. We would also go to really far out places, to antique shops, and my dad would, purchase certain pieces that had a story. He collected stamps, he collected clocks, even vintage or antique newspapers. So you would see that throughout our house. And I feel like that was different in a sense because we built the house as we lived in it. So this is what I tried to, in a sense, emulate with my home now, that I still wanted to keep, pieces that I had from my childhood home and have a story, a piece that really said a lot about my memories. With my first condominium, I was still very heavily into the Victorian vibe. But what I loved about it is that I was kind of free to decide what I wanted. But because I was very influenced by my dad, he still helped me actually with the interiors of my home. We didn't really have an interior designer or an architect. He did everything for me. I remember my favorite part was I always wanted pillars. And so he made this pillar in my apartment. It was made out of fiberglass. It was beautiful. And up to this day, I still kept it. No matter if he changed it up, those pillars will remain because that was my dad's, in a sense, creation. It was, in a sense, my little museum, a place where I kept all of my very memorable pieces, even down to the smallest seashell that you will see there. There's a story. It's very French, white shelves, maximalist, but I love playing with a lot of blank or white details of structures. It's heavy with a lot of the items that I brought in, but still very balanced because it looks clean by creating that white space. I feel like Paris is the grand marriage of the old world and the new, fashion and arts. And this is where I bloom. I think I was maybe in my past life, I definitely lived in this world where poetry is still very much alive and kicking. And so for me, that really makes it special. I'm also on the top floor, so I love the detail of the roof, the ceiling. It has this nice cylinder ceiling, and I love that. I always wanted the spiral staircase. We had that actually in our farmhouse before, so I wanted that spiral staircase. And basically, it's just white. But what makes it special is the character and all the stories of the pieces that I have in this apartment. Oh my God. So the home with my family and my husband, there was a lot of friction. How do I say without saying it badly? He has a look that he likes, which I love. I love it about him. But he's heavily into dark wood, antiques, not a tinge of white. I get depressed. And so I needed to, come in with full force. He started to like it. I mean, the vibe that we have now is perfect because it's still a mix of leather, textures, dark wood, but still you have the splashes of colors in a sense of palette that I still like. So it was good. It was a mix. But I feel like as you get to know each other, as you also grow with each other, it kind of like blends. So now, again, it's how you mesh things together that makes it beautiful. And I feel like our personality has definitely meshed through the years, and so has the interior of our home. I didn't want to play a character in a sense and get someone to just make it look like that. I wanted to be me. And it was very key for me to work with my friends because it's your home. You cannot pretend to be someone you're not. And it's just not gonna do you well. You have to thrive and shine and blossom in your home. So it's really a collection of childhood pieces, heirloom pieces, items that I got from my grandfather, my mother's mother, which makes it more of a home instead of a house. Chiz is really more like, which I appreciate, he's the good balance. He's our compass when it comes to renovating the house. He's very particular with the wirings, with the plumbings, and he, as much as possible, doesn't want to touch the structure, which I understand because he was very involved with the lighting and all of that, the technicalities of things. So we kind of had to work with the shell that we already had, the structure that we already had. But for me, it's just like working with your body type. You dress according to your body type, but you could still create something that you'll feel like you're beautiful. And so that was the first challenge I feel, because for me, I could like tear it all down and start from scratch and create something new. But I still needed to respect the structure. We definitely needed an artwork that was created by Chiz. Not a lot of people know that he paints. He actually does, and he's really good. Very modern, very structured, very him, but I love his choices of colors, which we needed it to be part of our home. So here in the Philippines, I feel like we are just starting to introduce designers or artisans, local artisans. And I love how there's really like a collective effort to put them out there, because most of the stuff that I see when I'm in a different country are actually made here. And when I saw Genteel, I saw how quality, the material that they use, they're very generous, they don't hold back. And I kind of, in a sense, really relate to that. When I create something, I want to give my all. And you can see like the materials that they use, the people behind the artworks. I call it an artwork because it really is. Their ideas is really like 100%. So when I collaborate with a brand or a house or a maison, it's really, I see them and I love it. And then when you get to know the story, the more you fall in love with them. So it was quite natural for me to collaborate with them because it was the creation and the people behind the creation that I fell in love with. I loved each one. Even if I didn't love it, it was for a purpose. Maybe it was just there to kind of house certain sentimental pieces that I would keep in the future. Because sometimes with life, you keep changing, you keep moving, and the tendency of letting go of a certain chapter, you get rid of everything. I'm so glad that I kept certain pieces. I'm so glad that I had rocky moments. I'm so glad that I had intervals of homes where I needed to house memories, because now it all makes sense. So looking back, each home that I had is still the home that I still have today, because you will still see them everywhere. It's the story, it's the chapters which makes my home a home today. For more details and an exclusive peek of my home, please grab a copy of the maiden issue of My Home. Thank you so much, everybody, for watching. This has been Heart Evangelista-Escudero for My Home Evolution. Now, don't forget to subscribe to My Home by BluPrint on YouTube.